What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for another episode of Sci-Fi Wednesdays and our U.S.S. Shenzhou. So you can see here we've got our battery pack, we've got our soldering iron heating up. We are ready to go ahead and get into this kit and see what we can do. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Now I'm not really sure where I want to start. I've been kind of looking at different pictures and going through kind of some ideas I have here, and I think what I want to go ahead and first do is make sure I can even solder and create some sort of circuit with my micro SMDs and the magnet wire. That's kind of going to be a real key point, because if I can't get that to work, then I have to rethink my entire procedure. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do first. So I've got my magnet wire, I've got my micro SMDs in red. Now all we need is a picture of the Shenzhou, and I have that right here. And this is going to help me kind of visualize where the lights are going to go and how exactly we're going to get these working through the whole entire saucer and all the engines and the support structures. This is actually not too far off from the actual size that the model is right out of the box. As you can see, it's pretty close. It's not perfect, it's a little bit off, but it is actually pretty close. This gives me a really good idea about how I can go ahead and kind of string these lights. Now we're going to go ahead and start off with the nacelles, because I think that's going to be one of the harder parts to go ahead and get wired up. And for that, we're going to go ahead and just grab a couple of these SMDs, and I'm going to grab some of our magnet wire, and then we're just going to go ahead and start doing some basic soldering. Now the magnet wire I'm going to be using, I'm going to go with the red color for our positive lead, and I'm going to go ahead and do the copper color for our negative lead. That's, I think, a good way to go ahead and keep them straight in our mind so we don't get confused and miswire. Now working with these SMDs is kind of tricky, so let's go ahead and make sure we can get one to even light up. So let's go ahead and connect the negative with the negative and the positive with the positive, and hopefully we can go ahead and get a light. Go ahead and give it a shot, and yep, we're in business. So I can go ahead and get these to light up, which is excellent. So I think what we're going to do first is I want to jump into the first time lapse. We're going to wire this up just real quick to do a simple test, and then we're going to start cleaning up the parts and see what we can do. Fingers crossed, guys. This is going to be very tedious and time consuming, but I think if we stick to it, we should be able to get through it. Let's have some fun. Alright everybody, so we are back, and I have to say I was very successful in creating a very simple circuit. So that is awesome. I was able to use the magnet wire, and I was able to get 2 of the SMDs all nicely lit up, and I should be able to get a third one without a problem. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now we're going to go ahead though and move over to some of the photo etch, because that's, I think, the next big hurdle. This photo etch is tiny. I'm not really sure how it's all going to go together. Plus, if we want to go ahead and try to light up certain areas of the saucer and the secondary hole and all that, and utilize these photo etch for all the portholes and whatnot, we're going to have to go ahead and figure out how that goes together. And I'm not really sure I know what to do. So I'm kind of thinking about this though, and I need to make sure we have enough of a backing to glue the PE parts down to the plastic. But I also have to have enough of the plastic opened up so I can get some light to go ahead and bleed through. That's going to be kind of tricky. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take my PE parts, we're going to go ahead and hold them up to the areas where we're going to actually have to drill through the plastic. We're going to mark off with pencil those areas we need to go ahead and open up, and then we're going to use our drill, we're going to use our X-Acto knife, we're just going to open up an entire section there, then glue on the photo etch on top of that so that that acts as a light block. We will have to go ahead and maybe seal around the photo etch with something at some point, but I just want to see if this is going to work. So let's go ahead and jump into our second time lapse, get all of our PE parts ready to go, get them installed on the hull, on the saucer section and the secondary hull, cut out the plastic we don't need, glue everything down so we have openings here and there for the light to peek through. And I think if this goes well, we should have a good idea of how this is going to look. So let's keep on keeping on, guys, see what we can do. Let's push on. All right, everybody, we are back, and my God, that was tedious. I've never quite done anything like that before, but we have pushed through. Our bottom of the saucer is all nicely photo etched and ready to go ahead and see what else we can do. Not sure how it worked out, but you know what? It's tedious, but I think it should be okay. I went ahead and tried some white Stauner's primer as somewhat of a light blocking. That didn't really work, so we're gonna have to go ahead and rethink that, maybe overcoat it with black and then come back after that and hit it with white so that we can get some light bouncing around the inside. That's gonna be okay, but so far, man, the photo etch on this is absolutely beautiful, but boy is it ever super tedious. In order to get the openings and the light to go ahead and shine through, I went ahead and used my little portable drill, and I just went ahead and bored out a couple of areas, and then I sliced them open into rectangles with my hobby knife. You saw that in the time lapse. And then I went ahead and glued the photo etch down on top of that, which will go ahead and allow the light to peek through on all the windows. And once I light block everything, hopefully you won't see any sort of light leaks around the photo etch and the plastic joints. Now for the secondary hull, I went ahead and opened up all the little plastic areas in there, and I went ahead and installed the photo etch, and it looks pretty decent. I went ahead and airbrushed the inside with some of that Stauner's white primer, but again, I'm gonna have to redo that because it doesn't really act as a light block very well. But I've actually figured out how to go ahead and light this up, and I'm pretty sure I can do it with just one small micro LED. Shouldn't be too difficult to get in there. I can use one of these existing locating tabs right here to go ahead and just thread 2 wires right down through. Then all I need to go ahead and do is figure out a way to get those wires up into the saucer section of the hole, and then I can just go ahead and glue this down to the inside of the actual secondary hole. That should be pretty decent to do. So let me go ahead and rig this up real quick, and let's do a low light test and see what it looks like. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty neat. All right, so I got my wires all hooked up. Let's go ahead and just give it a quick test run. As you can see, it does shine through. I do have a lot of light leaks though, but that's okay. This is not a finished product. This is just a test. And you can see I've got some bleeding through the top there, and of course around the area. It's got a hot spot right there where the light sits. So I've got a lot of work to do, but you can kind of get the idea that it does actually show through, and one light will go ahead and light the front and the back. So that's awesome. The same rule will probably apply for the saucer section. I just need to figure out how to place those lights, in what order, and how many lights to go ahead and put in here. But once I go ahead and do that, I hopefully will have the same effect. We can kind of give you a little bit of an idea here. If we go ahead and hold this up to a light, you can kind of tell where I've drilled out. It's not perfect, mind you, but you can kind of get an idea. A lot of light bleed, a lot of issues we need to go ahead and contend with, but for the most part, you can get the general idea. Next time, we need to come in here and figure out where to put the lights and go ahead and put in the rest of the photo etch here. That's going to be a little tedious, of course, but you know what? We're going to push on. We're going to see what we can do. We also have to go ahead and figure out what to do with the impulse engines, how we're going to attach the nacelles and get the wires up into the saucer section, and then of course figure out what we're going to do with the rest of the internals, get the deflector dish set up. We have a lot of work to do here, guys. I might have bitten off more than I can chew with this, but we're going to go ahead and push on. We're going to try it out, play around, and see if we can't get some of this all nicely lit up. But that's going to be it today, guys. We are done with episode number 2. We've actually got a lot of work done. May not have been that long of a video, but trust me, it took me like 5 hours just to do this one little photo etch section and drill out the areas. So until our next episode, guys, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, and build something cool. And we'll see you back here on episode number 3 for the U.S.S. Shenzhou here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you soon.